Hello, my name is Dana King, and you're here with me today for my interpersonal communication project for HSER 508. Next slide, please. I'm so blessed, but that is what drives me to improve myself daily, which is my family. What made me who I am today is God, being a mother, being a friend, and being a professional. Next slide. My overarching goal is to continue to improve my relationship with God and to embrace the wonderful things about my D personality, yet learn what the things are that are negative about my D personality that will affect my communication with others. Also, being aware of my surroundings, understanding who I am and how I relate to others and God is what's important in reaching the goal of an enlarging conversation. Next slide, please. Communicating with a D personality. Well, my behavior blend was a DI, but I was solidly pretty much a D. So I'm going to be talking about that today. So these are skilled communicators versus being demanding. We are leaders, so a lot of times being a leader and being demanding sometimes is seen very negative. But we can communicate well and be effective and drive a force for different groups. We can be seen as controlling, yet the positive parts of these is we're very optimistic. So I feel like personally that I am seen to be a little controlling, but that's because I want so much for everyone else because I am optimistic. I'm very task oriented. I want to make sure that I do everything right, and I'm very driven. So that's why I am a mother. I am a student. I do work a full-time job working with teen mothers. Sometimes because I do have so many things up in the air at one time, it would seem that I'm unfriendly and that I am too direct. But those things can be a very positive thing also with the D personality. Well, next slide, please. Barriers. Barriers to interpersonal communication content. Perception. Perception is something that we all do. This is not something that we're going to be able to stop, but we can be reminded of our perceptions. It is something that we do automatically. Reception is something we have to be aware of. It's no need to have a conversation with someone if you're not ready to receive it. So no matter what the person is saying, if you're not receptive, you won't hear it. So you have to pick a good time that you're going to hear what the person is saying. Your attention. You don't want to be distracted from everything. And it's easy to be distracted, especially in my situation because I have so many things going on at once. Because while I'm trying to do this project, I'm thinking about what I'm going to cook later for my kids for dinner. Physical barriers. There are so many physical barriers, such as just being tired. You will never hear anything what a person has to say if you're tired. Then biased listening. We're all biased. For instance, in my job, it's a lot of teens that walk in the door and I think, wow, they are horrible. They, just make the wrong decisions. But then come to find out it's a lot to their story. So we have to watch on that being biased because you never know what's behind someone's life story and situation. Next slide, please. So now we're talking about external noise pollution. External noise pollution could be something such as loud noises, the room temperature is hot or cold. That's not making you focus. You're more focused on if you're hot, or you're more focused on if you're cold. If you're in a rush and you don't have enough time, you're more focused on, you're not hearing what they're saying. You're thinking about the next thing that you have to do. So interruptions such as phone calls and text message is easy to get the communication swayed, and that you're not listening to what the person is saying. Distractions outside activities you're looking at. If somebody's talking too low or talking too loud, that may distract you. So it's a lot of external noise pollution. Let's look at the next slide, please, which is internal noise pollution. So I must confess that I'm sure I have a lot of that. So my personal identity, which I talked about a little bit, my D personality, that D personality is always making me, once I'm listening and a person have a problem, my first thought is to solve that problem. So I tend to interrupt people. So the personal identity is all about your self concept and your personality type, which I stated before I was a D. Stereotyping. People stereotype all the time before somebody even ever speaks. So they may stereotype on race, nationality, class, sexual orientation. It's a lot of things that people stereotype others on. Cultural assumptions. If you don't know about another person, it's easy to assume that they're a certain way. So different cultures clash, and we have to be aware of that with internal noise pollution. Belief systems. That's an easy one. Um, what I feel is right or wrong, somebody else that you may be having a discussion with may feel that that particular thing is right or wrong. So you always have that in the air, that situation in the air anytime you have a discussion with somebody, because of course all people are different. Next slide, please. Then let's look at what ways to avoid external and internal noise pollution. Mindful listening. So you want to really listen with your heart and really try to focus on the person. Be aware of your biases. You want to know, you want to think about before you talk to somebody, are you perceiving them a certain way? Listening with empathy. You want to empathize if someone's coming to you and telling you a story, or just need to air some things out. Listening without interference. So you want to make sure the cell phones, the other people, things like that that may distract you is out of the area. Be aware of your negative perceptions and assumptions. Do not listen until you're ready. Work at being a better listener. Continue to have eye contact, because that helps a lot, because you will stay focused on the conversation. And of course, use nexting, which is a great tool that I've learned in this class. Next slide, please. My plan for improving my interpersonal communication basically is to just continue to stay aware of my personality type D, of course, which I'm very proud of, and how it affects the way I communicate. I will consciously be aware of my past and future relationship affects my communication today. I will continue to work on the tendency to interrupt others talking, to try to jump forward and solve their problems. And I will continue to use Peterson's listening techniques, such as listening without agreeing, listening without disagreeing, advising, and defending. And ultimately, I will continue to follow the Word of God. And Psalms 37 says, "Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." And thank you for being here for my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I certainly have enjoyed this class. Have a good day.